So let's talk about Credit Suisse and how they're in deep, deep water right now. So Credit Suisse Group is a global investment bank and financial services firm from Switzerland. So when we look at them, they got a new chairman, and the new chairman is making cuts in the company following a $10 billion loss due to the collapse of the supply chain finance firm Greensill Capital and Archegos Family Fund. And if you don't know who Archegos Family Fund is, let me do a quick recap on that. So Archegos, these guys, this one man, he was in his portfolio, he had $20 billion. He was able to get 5 times that leverage from different primary brokers such as Credit Suisse, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, UBS, and another one, Nomura Holdings. And they allowed him 5 times that for him to trade with. So he was able to trade up to a $100 billion. Now that is kind of absurd. When you only have $20 billion in your account, only as though I'm saying that's a small number. No, that's a lot of money. And he was given $100 billion. Well, on March 25th, he got margin called at a $30 billion loss.
Oof.
And that whole fund, boom, imploded. It was gone. It collapsed out of nowhere. Guess who's stuck with the bill?
The
The
American
primary
people.
brokers. No, Credit Suisse. Thankfully, the American people. I don't know. They get stuck in there somehow. But right now, it's all about how Credit Suisse is on the hook for $5.5 billion loss for that, and then there's Greensill Capital, which was another part where the Swiss banks fund client they have to fund their clients because they've been kept waiting for repayment from a failed supply chain product. So that was Greensill Capital, in which they've been paying back. They returned $4.8 billion of the funds invested in the supply chain notes to clients, but there are still $5.2 billion that they still have to return to clients. So they're on the hook right now for a lot of money. So that's why they're making all these cuts. So the we could talk about the cuts right now and see that Credit Suisse Investment Bank CEO Brian Chin and Chief Risk and Compliance Officer Laura Warner have stepped down. Another one, Floriana Scarlato, has served as a Chief Compliance Officer of the International Wealth Management Division of Credit Suisse since 2015, but has been with them since 2005. Uh, and that's the thing. The new chairman's going in, taking out people, and also people that have been there for a long time are just stepping down on their own fruition. So or volition. So Horta Osorio, he's the new chairman who took over 2 months ago, as vowed to scrutinize risk management and culture following Credit Suisse's serial mishaps. I mean, when you look at Credit Suisse, their market cap is $24 billion. Their loss this year is $10 billion. That is more than they've ever made in the past 10 years. They lost within a couple months. So that's just what shows when these guys get too greedy and they think, all right, well, this guy's rich. He could probably make these big moves. Well, see, black swans happen, things happen, and this guy took a huge hit. The guys that came out unscathed from Archegos Family Fund was like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. When they saw the writing on the wall, maybe insider information, I don't know, but they got out nearly unscathed. Yeah, a couple $1 million here and there, but it wasn't in the excess of like billions of dollars. So that's where that's where we gotta just realize that these guys, there is no stopping them when it comes to how much leverage they're willing to put out to people. Hopefully, right now, they're going to be able to learn from their lesson of how much they will actually give out in loans. And so we'll see what happens in the future. But as of right now, Credit Suisse from March 25th they took around a 20% hit from $13 to $21, and as of July 8th, there was a buy order for 15 million shares, around 50 million shares. So we'll see their volume spike back up. We'll see if that's just to make sure that there is no more of a windfall for that stock, or it's just a repeat of March 25th when that volume spiked up and then they started dropping again the next couple of days. So that's always something to watch out for, because they'll fake you out. They'll be like, oh, it's going back up. People buy in, but then they really just want to drop out at a higher price. So
Interesting.
Nuts.
So
Yeah, man.
is this a high risk? Is this a buy or is this a watch out?
see, this is a banks one by one are going to start defaulting because of COVID, because of bad business acumen, because of a plethora of I don't know, ideas, not ideas, like footsteps. Like they've made their bed. They're now going to start sleeping in it, because from this, it's just one bank that needs to default, and then another one does, and then another one does, and it's just they have seen that hedge funds right now are over leveraged, historically over leveraged. Where are they getting that leverage from? Let me tell you, it's from these premium brokers, primary brokers. And when those guys start defaulting, because let's say like the shorts from for like AMC and GameStop, how much money they lost was in the excess of billions of dollars. I don't know the exact amount, but I believe a month ago for AMC, shorts lost around $30 billion. And guess where that's coming from? That's coming from hedge funds. That's coming from these institutions and stuff. So wherever they're getting their leverage from, you better know that the primary brokers, the banks, are going to take a hit. And it's just going to start going on one by one. It's going to be a domino effect. And one by one, they're going to start defaulting. And other big guys, other big institutions that have been, just doing the right moves are going to start buying them up. Or they're just going to wait till auction, and then they'll have the government auction them off. So
Look, the government's never going to let the banks fail. You can't let the banks fail.
well, that's why there's a wind down plan, right? And that's where when they fail, they're not going to fail completely. The government's not going to want to bail them out. They're going to say, hey, who now wants this machine? Who could actually drive it better? And they're going to have other large institutions pick it back up, buy them, and they're going to be at a much lower price, such as UBS wanted to merge with with what is it, Credit Suisse, and they were supposed to be at like equal standing. Now I don't even believe they're at equal standing. They're at what, half the market value of what they were before. So UBS could get a much better price on them.
They could. They were still going to buy them. It wasn't as long as the regulators didn't stop them from having an antitrust liability for having giant banks merge.
And see, that's the thing that could, when you really look into it, there's antitrust and this and that. Well, that's going to all get thrown out the door when a whole bank defaults, and another bank is just like, dude, I want to buy them up. Why not? I'll just have a better footing in the market and be a better primary broker. And then guess what? Instead of 100 roads leading to Rome, there's only going to be about 50, because only of the 50 top guys are now standing, and they bought up the other 50 that defaulted.
Maybe could also be helpful to the market to get rid of dead weight.
Dead weight, but that's the thing.
Inefficient banks get absorbed by more efficient banks.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll turn out better. But these rules that have been put into place by the SEC, it should help in the event that banks default. That it's not going to be, oh my gosh, we didn't see this coming. no, we saw this coming. We have plans for it now. So go according to rule, blah, 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 you know?
No, Jim, we saw this coming.
Exactly.
Okay.